Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Georgia. I hope you're well. Today we are going to be going through every single book on my physical TBR. Now the last time I counted these, I think I had around 318, 320ish. I have received a few more books since then, so we're probably looking around 325 books that I still have to read on my TBR. I do have some duplicate books, so I won't be counting the duplicate ones. Let's just jump straight in. I'm not going to give you much information about it. I'm not going to tell you how long it's been on my TBR. I'm not going to tell you much about the book. I'm literally just going to tell you the title, the author, and then move on because we've got so many books to get to. Grab a drink, grab a snack. I actually have a J2O today, not a Monster. What is wrong with me? If you guys want my opinion on any of these books, then do leave them in a comment down below and I'll try and get them in videos sooner if there's any that you guys in particular want me to read. So I'm going to start grabbing books. Let's go through my entire TBR. Book number 1, we have the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. We next have books 2 and 3 in the Ravenhood series. I have already read book 1, but I feel like I'd probably have to reread it again to read these now, but we'll see how I feel about that one. We then have the new Sinners series. So just to quickly go through them, we have Sinners Anonymous, Sinners Condemned, Sinners Consumed, and Sinners Atoned. These sound like a lot of fun. They're like dark mafia romances, I think, so I'm really looking forward to getting into these. As you can see, they are very new to the TBR. Stickers are still on them because they need to go in a video yet. And we also have the pre-spread edges edition, which always makes me very happy. We then have my little H.G. Carlton stack. So I have Phantom, Haunting Adeline, Shallow Rivers, and Satan's Affair. We next have my Rena Kent stack, so I have Beautiful Venom and Sweet Venom, and I then have books 2 to 6 of the Legacy of God series, so we've got God of Pain, God of Wrath, God of Ruin, God of Fury, and God of War. We then have Lights Out and Caught Up by Nevessa Allen. Book 3 in this series is now out as well, so I'll probably end up buying that at some point in the near future, I'm not gonna lie. We then have books 2 to 6 in the Brutal Birthright series, so we've got Stolen Air, Savage Lover, Bloody Heart, Broken Vow, and Heavy Crown. I have only read book 1 in this series and I weren't mind blown by it, so I think it's kind of put me off continuing on with the series, but I do plan on getting to it again soon because I did hear that the first book's the worst one, they get better, so I will jump back into this eventually. I then have 3 by Penelope Douglas, so we've got Credence, Bullet, and Until You. I'm not entirely sure what this series is called, but I've got My Dark Romeo and My Dark Desires by L.J. Shen and Parker S. Huntington. I know there's a couple more out in this series now, it might just be one, I'm not entirely sure, but I've still not got around to reading these 2 yet, and I don't actually feel that much pull towards them thinking about it, but I'll give them till my next sort of like doing book stuff video to decide how I feel about these. And then I also have Truly Madly Deeply by L.J. Shen as well. We next have my Ellie Hazelwood set, so I've got Loath to Love You, Problematic Summer Romance, Not in Love, Love Theoretically, Love on the Brain, Deep End, and Mate. By Abby Jimenez, I've just got The Life's Too Short, or is it Friend Zone? I can never remember which way around these go, bear with me. I feel like I've got these the wrong way around again. It doesn't say. Okay, I'm just going to leave them in the order that they're in for now because it doesn't say. But I've got this series by Abby Jimenez, so I've got Life's Too Short, Happy Ever After Playlist, and The Friend Zone. And then by Emily Hemray, of my collection, the only ones I've got left are Book Lovers and Beach Read. We next have the Love Light series by B.K. Borison, so we've got Love Light Farm, In the Weeds, Mixed Signals, and Business Casual. I wanted to read this in winter so that I could like read them all with the seasons, but that didn't happen, so now they're just sort of sitting there while I decide what I'm going to do with that. I've then got 2 series by Lauren Asher, so I've got the Dreamland Billionaire series, so that's the fine print, terms and conditions, and final offer. And then I also have the Dirty Air series, so we've got Throttled, Collide, Wrecked, and Redeem. We next have 5 books from the Kings of Sin series, so I've got King of Wrath, King of Pride, King of Greed, King of Sloth, and King of Envy. I don't know why I've not gotten to these yet, because I really enjoyed the Twisted series, so I should probably read these. I should probably read a lot of these books, let's be honest. Moving on to sport romance, I have the 5 books in the Magnolia Park series. Something keeps like putting me off reading these, but I refuse to get rid of them because I do really want to read them. I think because I've heard there's a lot of like the cheating trope and things like that, it has slightly put me off picking these up, but then I hear someone else properly raving about them and then I'm like, well now I have to read them, and I keep going backwards and forwards, so I've still not read any of the 5 books in the Magnolia Park series. I also still haven't got around to reading the Boys of Tommen series because everyone keeps telling me to wait till I'm in a better headspace, and you know, we just aren't there yet, so I've not read any of these 6 books yet either. So that's Keeping 13, Binding 13, Saving 6, Redeeming 6, Taming 7, and Releasing 10. None of them read. We then have Collide, Spiral, and Resolve by Bal Cabra. I've not read any of these books yet, but I've heard the most amazing things. I then have the Maple Hill series, so we have Icebreaker, Wildfire, and Daydream, all by Hannah Grace. I have read from Hannah Grace before and really enjoyed it, so I do want to get to these soon. And then left in my L. Kennedy stack, I've got the last 2 books in the Off-Campus series, so I've got The Goal and The Legacy, and then I've got the Briar U series, so we've got The Chase, The Risk, The Play, and The Dare. I then have books 3 to 6 in the Game Changers series, so we've got Tough Guy, Common Goal, Role Model, and The Long Game. And then have the Play for Keep series. So we've got Consider Me, Play With Me, Unravel Me, Fall With Me and Breathe With Me, all by Becca Mack. Finally, for sport romance, I have One on One by Jamie Harrow and Face Off by Chelsea Curto. I then have the 3 books in the Skyridge Hot Shots series. So we've got Fight, Protect and Honour. I'm so excited to read these. I might actually start these in the next couple of weeks because... I then have a new very recent purchase, as you can see. This is Chasing the Fire by Paisley Hope, the last book in the Silver Pines series by this author. Low-key putting off reading this because as excited as I am to give this one a go, it is also the last one and that's going to break my heart. I next have the Bourbon Boys trilogy by Victoria Wilder. So we've got Bourbon and Secrets, Bourbon and Proof, Bourbon and Lies. Again, these sound like so much fun. I don't know why I've not picked these up yet. I then have Alive and Wells by Bailey Hannah. This is book 1 in the Wells Ranch series by this author. Excited to give this one a go. I then have the first 3 books in the Lucky River Ranch series by Jessica Peterson. So we've got Cash, Wyatt and Sawyer. And then I also have books 1 and 2 in the Griffith Brother series by Maggie Yates. So we've got Dust Storm and Downpour as well. The rest of my country romances here have all actually already been read. I'm very proud of myself. So left over is just my Rose Hill series by Elsie Silver. So we've got Wild Love, Wild Eyes, Wild Side and Wild Card. I have Next of Kin and Next of You by Hannah Burnham Young. I next have the next 3 books in the Queen's Cove series by Stephanie Archer. So I've read book number 1, which was That Kind of Guy. So left in this series we've got The Wrong Mr. Right, In Your Dreams, Holden Rhodes and Finn Rhodes Forever. Next up I have book 1 in the Eden series. This is Indigo Ridge by Daphne Perry. I am so excited to give this series a go. And then I have just a little stack of Mia Sheridan books. I feel like these have been on my TBR forever, but the reason I haven't started them yet is because I don't actually know the reading order. So we've got Travis, Becoming Colder, Finding Eden and Grayson's Vow. I really want to read Archer's Voice and I feel like that's sort of the starting point, but I'm not entirely sure, so I'm just waiting to figure it out, to be honest. I'm being lazy, I've not done it yet. I then have just some like random ones. So we've got Nora Goes Off Script by Annabelle Moynihan, The Devil She Knows by Alexandria Bellefleur, I think I'm saying her name right, Not Another Love Song by Julie Soto, and The Dating Countdown by N.G. Peltier. I think I'm probably butchering that pronunciation. I next have a few Christina Lauren ones. So we've got The Unhoneymooners, Love and Other Words and The Soulmate Equation. And then finally for this romance shelf we've got Summer in the City by Alex Astor. I then have a couple by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I've got The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and After I Do. And then finally for sort of like romancy ones I've just got a couple of Colleen Hoover ones. So I've got November 9, Ugly Love and Hopeless. And then I didn't really know where else these lived, so I've just got a couple of other like miscellaneous ones. So I've got The Nightingale, which I did soft DNF but do plan on giving it another go. And then I've got The Girl Behind the Gates as well. So now we'll move on to my fantasy shelf. This is where it's going to get extremely interesting. Starting off, I have the entire Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. I really want to get to this year, but equally now I want to do a reread of ACOTAR, so who knows what we'll do there. I then have book 3 in Crescent City. I don't have books 1 and book 2, but this was actually very kindly sent to me. I need to get around to getting books 1 and 2 now, but yeah, we have book 3 in Crescent City, which is House of Flame and Shadow. I then have books 3 through 9 of Zodiac Academy. I'm so sorry, I am not picking them all up, they are so heavy, so I'm just going to hold up book 9, but I do have books 3 through 9. I then also have books 4 and 5 in The Ruthless Boys, but again, they're so heavy, I'm not fighting them out of their place right now. So that's Broken Fate and Warrior Fate, and they're both like nearly 1,000 pages each. I next have book 2 in Bloodwing Academy, so that's The Bonds That Burn by Briar Berlin. Really excited to give this one a go. I know book 3's recently come out as well. And then yes, I still have Iron Flame and like Storm left from the Empyrean series. I don't know why I can't get around to reading these. I then have multiple box sets of the Twisted Tales series by all sorts of different authors. I'm not going to get them all out because they are again really heavy and they're in a really awkward spot because they're like down here. So I've got Mirror Mirror, Part of Your World, Reflection, So This Is Love, Unbirthday, What Once Was Mine, Twisted Tales, Anthology, Suddenly Super, Almost There, Princess and the Thieves, Straight On Till Morning, Go the Distance, Let It Go, As Old as Time, A Whole New World and Once Upon a Dream. So I have 16 of those and no, I've not read a single one of them yet. I need some motivation to get hold of those, I don't know what my problem is. I then have 5 of the Never After novels left, so I've read Hooked, but I've got Scarred, Wretched, Twisted, Crossed and Hexed. So I've then got the Chaos Walking trilogy by Patrick Ness, so we've got The Knife of Never Letting Go, The Ask and the Answer and Monsters of Men. I am so excited to read this book and I kind of forget I have them, and then every time I see them I'm like, oh my god, why haven't I read those yet? I really need to get to these. And next I have just some like hardbacks that I've not yet got to. So I've got The Wolf King, Catabasis? I don't know how to pronounce this one, but this one sounds so good. Our Infinite Fates by Laura Stevens, When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker, and Feather So Back by Lara Serene. I next have the Courts of Ravens duology, so we've got Feathers So Vicious and Shadows So Cruel. These are also the sprayed edges, pretty versions. I then have books 1 and 2 in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy, I think this is. So I've got Daughter of No Worlds and Children of Fallen Gods. These are the Waterstones sprayed edges editions. I then have Firebird by Juliet Cross, The Knight and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and Shields of Sparrow by Daphne Perry. I did not realise that was the same author as the Eden series. Oh my god, how did I not know that? Good to know. I next have majority of my fairy loots that I own and still haven't read. So we have The Windweaver by Julie Johnson, Broken Souls and Bones by L.J. Andrews. That is the same author as that one. Oh my god, this is why you do these videos. This is the same author as the Everking series. I did not know that. And Rose and Chain by Julie Soto, Warrior Princess Assassin by Bridget Camera, Savage Blooms by S.T. Gibson, and To Cage a Wild Bird by Brooke Fast, We Who Will Die by Stacey Stark, King of Ravens by Claire Sager, and Half City by Kate Golden. I then have books 2, 3 and 4 in the Beasts of the Briar series. So we've got Woven by Gold, Forged by Malice, and Broken by Daylight by Elizabeth Helen. They have just announced the next 3 books are coming out in the next 9 months or something daft like that as well. So I really want to get to these, but I do feel like I should probably reread book 1 first, so we'll see how I feel about that one. I next have Bloody Black by Rhiannon Hargadon. This is the last book on my pirate section. I've been so obsessed with my pirate reads recently that I've been flying through them. So this is the only one left from my pirate reads. I then have Fairdale by Veronica Lancet. Faye read this recently and then bought me this for Christmas. She's obsessed with it, so I really want to get to this sooner rather than later. Riftborn and Dustbound by Greenwich and Lennox. I have heard amazing things about this series, so I really want to read these soon as well. They've recently been trad published, I think, so we're now getting the hardback covers, but I'm really glad I got a hold of these ones first because I really like these covers. I then have The Scarlet Veil. I've had this for a long time as well and still just haven't gotten around to reading it. This was actually a gift from my lovely friend Chloe as well, so I really need to read this soon. She got me for my birthday. I then have a few by Carissa Broadbent. So I've got book 2 in the Nightborn duet, The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and then I've got book 1 in the Shadowbone duet, which is The Songbird and the Heart of Stone, and then I've also just got Slain the Vampire Conqueror as well. I've got The Book of Blood and Roses by Annie Summerlee. I did get to about 100 pages and I did soft DNF this book. I think it was more of just a wrong time sort of situation than me not actually enjoying it. I have The Shepherd King duology by Rachel Gillig. So we've got One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. I've got the first 3 books in the God of Monsters trilogy by Amber Vini Cole. So we've got The Book of Asriel, The Throne of Broken Gods, and The Dawn of the Cursed Queen. Nocticadia by Kerry Lake. And then books 2, 3 and 4 in the Plated Prisoners series by Raven Kennedy. So we've got Glint, Gleam and Glow. I then have the Kindred's Curse saga. So we've got Spark of the Everflame, Go of the Everflame, and Heat of the Everflame, all by Penn Cole. I have technically read all of these before, but I am reading them again as part of the new reading order, so I'm going to pretend I haven't. So I've got books 3, 4, 5 and 6 of the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. So we've got City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire. We then have the Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare as well. So we've got Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince and Clockwork Princess. We've then got the Dark Artifices series as well. So I've got Lady Midnight, Lady of Shadows and Queens of Air and Darkness. And then we also have just a few random ones that you read in between certain books in the big reading order of the Cassandra Clare books. So we've got The Bane Chronicles, Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, and Ghost of the Shadow Market. Oh my god. I'm not gonna lie, I just launched a book at you and it was a chunky one as well, so I've just sent the tripod flying. So if you're not in the same position, it's because I'm an idiot. And then have the Grimm and Oro novella. I have already read the rest of the Lightlark series, other than Crown Tide, which isn't out in paperback yet, and I won't be reading it until I get the paperback. And then also by Alex Esther, I've just got a copy of Starside as well. I'm so excited to read this one. I think this one sounds so interesting. I then have the first 3 books in the Lady of Darkness series by Melissa K. Rorick. So we've got Lady of Darkness, Lady of Shadows, and Lady of Ashes. Heavenly Bodies by Amani Eriu. I still haven't gotten around to reading this. I've heard the most amazing things as well. I think it sounds like such an interesting concept, but we just haven't got around to it like everything else because I have to work instead of just being able to sit at home and read all day. We next have the Sacred Stones trilogy by Kate Golden. So we've got Dawn of Onyx, A Promise of Peridot, and Reign of Rose. And then again, just some sort of like random ones. So we've got A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacey Stark, Nectar of the Wicked by Ella Fields, Feybound by Sarah L. Arifi, and then also just a Cassandra Clare one that I missed off, we have Swordcatcher. I then have the next 2 books in the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. So we've got The Ballad of Never After and A Curse of True Love by Stephanie Garber. We have the entire Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafe. So we've got Shatter Me, Unite Me, Unravel Me, Ignite Me, Restore Me, Find Me, Define Me, Imagine Me, and Believe Me. I haven't read any of these yet, and I really want to because I want to get onto this next series, which is the This Woven Kingdom series. So we've got This Woven Kingdom, These Infinite Threads, and All This Twisted Glory. I really want to read these. These ones sound so up my street, but I've been told I need to read Shatter Me first, so I really need to get to that. I then have the Folk of Air series, I think that's what it's called. So we've got The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. Book 1 in the Mortal Fate series by J. Bree. So we've got The Crown of Oaths and Curses. I don't know why I always find that so difficult to say. One of the novellas from the Abigail Breyer Till Kingdom Come series. So this is the first novella. So this is book 1.5, and this is Sea of Sorrows. I then have like a stack of Leigh Bardugo books. So I've read the first book in the Shadow and Bone series. So I've got books 2 and 3 in that. I've then got Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I've then got King of Scars and Rule of Wolves, and then we've got The Familiar and the second book in the sort of like Ninth House trilogy, I think it is. I was told I needed to read the Shadow of Bone series before I read the Six of Crow series, but I really want to read the Six of Crow series, so I've been trying to hurry up and read that. Read the first book, didn't love it, and now I've been sort of like put off. But I don't want to be missing out on Six of Crows because I didn't read Shadow of Bone, so I'm trying really hard to get through these slowly. I then have the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy by Kerry Maniscalco. So we've got Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, and Kingdom of the Feared. And then by that same author I also have Throne of the Fallen. I then have the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. So I've got Obsidian, Onyx, Opal, Origin, and Opposition. And then finally, for sort of like my fantasy shelves, I just have these Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. And then finally, we're nearly there, I promise. We just have a few in my thriller collection. I first have Butter. I was so excited to read this, and then I was putting all my books on my Goodreads the other day, and it's got like 3 stars. And now I've been like slightly put off, but I do really want to read this. I then have the Serial Killer series by Alice Hunter. So I've got The Serial Killer's Wife, The Serial Killer's Daughter, and The Serial Killer's Sister. I then have a couple by Gillian McAllister. So I've got Wrong Place, Wrong Time, and I've got Just Another Missing Person. We've got Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter. I'm pretty sure this is literally like a investigation in a book and you like figure it out with them. I've had this on my TBR for like nearly 2 years now and I've still not read it, but I really want to because I love this sort of stuff. Me and James literally sit and do murder mysteries at home, so I should do this. I then have 3 out of my 6 Lisa Jewell books that I've still not read. So we've got Then She Was Gone, The Girls, and The Night She Disappeared. I next have the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I don't actually know if these are like thrillers or fantasies or what. I don't know what these are, so if you know, please tell me. But we've got The Naturals, Killer Instinct, All In, and Bad Blood. I know they're sort of like YA, but are they mystery thrillers or are they like fantasy-esque? I don't really know, but I want to read these soon. I also have... Oh, that made me jump. My books are all falling over. I then have Let's Split Up by Bill Woods, another one that I've heard sort of mixed things about, but I really want to give it a go. And then finally we have the remainder of my Freedom McFadden collection. So I've read 4 by this author and I find her so hit and miss, but left I've got The Inmate, One by One, The Locked Door, The Housemaid's Secret, and The Housemaid is Watching. And that's my entire TBR. So there we have it. That is every single book on my physical TBR. It's excessive and it makes me uncomfortable. We were doing so well, but my camera just died literally as I was doing my outro. So here we are. So if the camera angle has changed for a 3rd time, that is why I'm professional, I know. So that is all of the books on my physical TBR. I am aware that it is a lot. I buy so much quicker than I read. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you guys want me to read. I haven't done a count yet, but I will put it on screen here after I've finished having an absolute meltdown about it. I'm going to guess 322. I'm obsessed with my collection. I know it's an excessive amount of books, but I love this space. It is my happy place. I will eventually get around to reading these books, and the books I don't read I do sell on or take to the charity shop or give to family and friends, so they never go to waste, okay? I know this is an excessive amount of books, but hey, it's my hobby, I work hard, I earn my money, so this is what I choose to spend it on. Okay, so if there's any of these books in particular that you guys want to see me read, then do leave them in the comments down below, because I will eventually do sort of like a TBR takedown where we will choose 3 of those books to read together in sort of videos and things. So be sure to leave them in the comments. Just give me some motivation to read these books as well. So if you've read any of these books and really enjoyed them, then let me know what book that is and how you found it. Give me some motivation to actually pick it up and get it read, because I need that. I need the motivation. I am struggling to keep motivated over here. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And as always, my social media, my Amazon, my Goodreads, my business email are all in the description bar below. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.